that you've decided is special enough that you want to save it and use it and share it with others in case they want to use it in their projects. You can see in this repository, I've named it P5JS Tools because I'm going to be using this with P5JS. And I've created a file in here called Square Starter, which has some functions in it that I'm going to be using soon to make the next piece of art for you a little bit easier. But this video is not about talking about the details of that file. I want to show you how we can use GitHub to make changes to our code and manage different versions of our code in a way that makes it so that you never really lose anything. The way we're going to do that here is that we're in the main page of the repository. And I know this code works. I know it's really good code. Well, it's not really good. It's great. It's good enough code. And I know I want to start editing this. In fact, what I'd like to do is make it so that I can take this code and use some of it specifically for our class together. To do that, I'm going to create a branch. I'll call this Advanced Automation 2021, and that's what happens. I can go into Square Starter, and you can see I have some stuff in here already. I can edit this file, and I can say, this is an edit to this file, exclamation point. That's the only change I'm going to make. I can commit those changes, and we can see that this is now saved into this file. If I go to the history up here, I can see all of the changes that I have made over time to this particular file. It was first created 19 hours ago. That's when I first created this repository. And you can see that 12 seconds ago, I edited this file. And you have the ability to go back to other versions of the code and look at old versions of the code in case something doesn't work. But let me show you one other thing that's really useful here. If I go back to the main branch and I look at this particular file, you can see that my comment isn't there. If I go to the history, you see that comment that I just put in, it's not there. And that's because I made those edits on this new branch that I just created. This makes it really easy when you are making changes to a set of code, but you don't want to affect the code that you know is already working. You can create a branch and make your edits on that branch so that you know the original code isn't there, but you can still make edits and test it, test the new code to make sure that it works. So let's go back to our new branch for the class. Here we are. Here's the edit to the file. I am logged in with my personal GitHub account. You can see my ID EMWDX right there. And I want to show you what it looks like when you are a person other than the creator of the repository and you want to use that code to do something. Let's switch over to the other Evan Weinberg. Hi, I'm Evan Weinberg. You might remember me from coding videos like this one. Here we are in my personal list of repositories for this other account that I happen to have. I'm going to go to the repository for EMWDX, that is the other account. And you can see it looks very much like what we saw before from the other Evan. You can see the file, we can see the branches, but you'll notice it's a little bit different because I don't have the ability to make direct edits on this repository yet. So here's what I can do. I can go up here and I can fork this project. And what this will do is it will make a copy of this repository so that it appears in my set of repositories, which I can then make edits to. I can also go to the Advanced Automation branch and I can make changes. For example, I can go to the Square Starter JS page. I can edit it, and I can say, this is another edit from another Evan. Cool, right? And now I can commit changes. Now, this is something that I have changed within the copy of the repository. So right now, any changes that I make are going to stay over in this Evan's copy of the code. If I'm happy with the changes that have been made to the code, what I can do is I can ask that the other Evan pull these changes into his code. And I'm going to compare and do a pull request. And so you'll see what I would like to do is take these changes that I have made over here in this repository and pull them into the other repository right here. So I'm going to create this pull request in my account and see if the other Evan can bring it into his project. Hey there. I hear that there are some changes that have been made on my repository. I'm just going to reload and take a look. And I can see up here, oh, it says pull requests. And so this person, eWeinberg-VN, is requesting that I pull changes from his fork of the code into this one, into the main repository. That sounds pretty good. Let's check it out. Now, GitHub has the ability to check for conflicts, and we're not going to check for conflicts right now, just because I know there aren't any. We'll get into how to resolve conflicts a little bit later. What I do want to do is I want to check the files that have changed and just compare them. So this is my file right here. This is my file, and this is the file that the other Evan made changes to. And so it's letting me compare the two to see if I want to pull those changes into this. Now that I've seen that the changes are looking pretty good, I can merge that pull request. And now that I've done that, I can look at the code. And if I'm in the main branch and I go into squarestarter.js, you don't see that comment, and that's because all of these changes were made in the advanced automation branch, which is right here. But if I go right here, it gives me a message that I have merged the pull request from this other Evan. And if I go into squarestarter.js, that means we can see clearly that this new change is in my code. Now that we have a little bit of an idea of how this works, we're going to get into actually forking this code on the other branch and use it to create a new file that's going to be a new piece of art using P5.js. See you there.